你是第一次来这里吗？
对呀，
第一次来这里啊？你现在个人是什么情况？
At a matchmaking corner in the park, a man doing real-life interviews talked to a divorced single mom who came looking for a partner, trying to understand the true dating standards of older single women. The man looked at the woman a few times and smiled as he asked, "Miss, is this your first time coming here for matchmaking?" The woman nodded shyly and replied, "Yeah, it's my first time just checking things out." The man shifted his tone and asked tentatively, "What's your current situation?" The woman answered in a low voice, "Divorced with a child." The man continued, "Oh, you've got a kid. How old is the child?" The woman said, 8 years old. The man paused and turned to ask an older woman nearby, "Auntie, what kind of man do you think is suitable for someone like her?" The auntie said, "Well, the key is really to see what kind of height requirement she has. A lot of women are picky about a man's height." Upon hearing this, the woman responded without hesitation, "I want a man who is at least 1.75 meters tall." The man couldn't help but glance at her and blurted out, "From what I can tell, you're only about 1.58 meters tall, right? You're aiming for someone 1.75? Isn't that a bit too demanding?" The woman, slightly annoyed, replied, "A height of 1.75 meters is normal for a man. It's not like I'm asking for something outrageous." The man half-jokingly, half-seriously asked, "Well then, let me ask you, don't you think someone who's 1.60 or 1.65 meters tall is more suitable for you? Why are you so fixated on height?" The woman thought for a moment and replied, "I think 1.75 meters is a basic standard for men, isn't it?" The man wouldn't let it go and asked the auntie again, "Auntie, do you think it's too much for her to insist on a 1.75 meter tall man?" The auntie said, "It's not that high a bar, but I think slightly shorter men can also be good." The woman, now slightly emotional, responded, "It's not like height is a hard requirement for me. I just don't want the guy to be shorter than me, that's all." The man took a new angle and asked, "Then let me ask, just now I saw a guy who works at a construction site, makes 5,000 yuan a month. Why did you reject him?" The woman's tone suddenly hardened. "It's not that I look down on him, but I care more about a man's capability. If a man has no ability, how can we build a life?" The man laughed and asked back, "But you're divorced and have a kid. Why would a capable man want to take on your situation?" The woman snapped back, "So, just because I'm divorced with a child, I have to settle for someone worse than me? Then what's the point of even finding a man, just to downgrade my quality of life?" The man clearly didn't agree and pressed on, "So you're saying, you want a man to improve your current financial situation?" The woman, a bit angry now, said, "That's not what I meant. I just don't want someone worse off than me, financially speaking." The man's tone dropped. "But in reality, men with better financial conditions than you, they probably won't choose a 37-year-old woman with a child. Then what will you do?" The woman, unconvinced, countered, "Who says no one will accept me? Who says 100% of men won't?" The man bluntly said, "Then how come you've been divorced for years and still haven't found the kind of man you want? You're asking for 1.75 meters tall, financially well off, able to support you. Would such a man accept your age and the fact that you have a kid?" At this point, the woman clearly lost some confidence and said, "Well, it depends on the person, right? If he's also divorced, maybe he can accept my situation." The man kept pushing. "Then could you accept a man making 7,000 to 8,000 yuan a month?" The woman immediately replied, "No." The man mocked, "See, many people say women aren't coming to matchmaking to find husbands, but looking for temporary workers. In other words, you just want a man to help raise your kid, improve your financial situation, and do the hard work." The woman responded even more firmly, "What I mean is, I won't go for a man who's financially worse off than me. What would I want him for then? I'd rather live alone." The man chuckled coldly. What if he's a good person? Treats you well, respects you, does your laundry, cooks, is patient and devoted. The woman shook her head immediately. I don't want that kind of man. I'm not looking for a nanny, I want a man with financial ability. The man said. Then do you think your expectations are grounded? Are you truly here to find a life partner? The woman impatiently replied. What part of my standards isn't grounded? It's not like I'm being picky about height. The man pressed further. You say that, but would you accept a man who's 1.60 meters tall? The woman looked down and replied. I already told you, what matters most to me is his capability. The man nodded and continued. Then tell me, what's the minimum monthly income a man should have to count as capable? The woman hesitated but answered truthfully. Dozens of thousands. At least a few tens of thousands. The man laughed softly. So you think a man making tens of thousands a month would skip over younger, prettier girls to take on someone like you, with a kid? The woman refused to back down. Not every man likes young girls, right? Some like more mature women. The man shook his head and sighed. Then you might as well keep raising the child by yourself. With standards like that, you're dreaming. Don't you want to have a home? The woman raised her voice. Am I supposed to settle for a man who only earns a few thousand a month? The man raised his voice too. The issue is you're divorced with a kid, and you were born in '88, so you're already 37 years old. And you still want someone earning tens of thousands, 1.75 meters tall, rich? Come on, get real. The woman, still unyielding, said. Why not? I'm not bad myself. Why can't I find a man with better conditions? The man fired back. Just look around. So many young women are also here looking for partners. The competition is fierce. What advantage do you have? The woman stubbornly replied. I have my own income. I can find a man at my level, that's fine too. The man continued. But that's still not enough. Your income is yours. Men look for wives to build a life with, not to become a stepdad. If you're hoping a man will improve your financial condition, let me tell you, that's not going to happen. The woman went quiet for a moment, then said emotionally. So, you think I need a man to change my finances? I'm not desperate for a man, okay? The man dealt the final blow. Then what are you doing here? This is a matchmaking event. Let me tell you, you need to adjust your mindset. With your standards, no man is going to take you on. The woman snapped back angrily. Why do you care whether someone would take me or not? And so, the interview ended on a sour note.